Hello, and welcome to the Parenting Compass. This is your go-to channel for practical, compassionate parenting strategies that strengthen your relationship with your child. My name is Jenny Lee, and I'm a psychology and empowerment specialist for youth. Over the past decade, I've worked with families to help them navigate the complexities of parenting while fostering trust and respect at every step. Today, we're tackling a topic that can feel like a tightrope walk for many parents: how to build trust while disciplining your child. Discipline is an essential part of parenting. It teaches children boundaries, accountability, and self-control. But often, parents worry that setting limits or enforcing consequences will damage the trust they've worked so hard to build with their child. Here's the good news. Discipline doesn't have to come at the expense of trust. In fact, when done thoughtfully, it can actually strengthen your relationship with your child. Why discipline and trust are linked. Let's start with why trust is so important in the context of discipline. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and this is especially true in the parent-child dynamic. When your child trusts you, they're more likely to respect your guidance and feel secure in your care. But trust isn't just about being the fun parent who says yes all the time. It's also about consistency, fairness, and the ability to hold firm boundaries in a way that feels safe and loving. Research insight studies in developmental psychology, such as those published in the Journal of Child and Family Studies, show that children who experience discipline in a nurturing, consistent environment are more likely to develop emotional regulation and a sense of security. This kind of environment fosters trust because children learn that their parents are reliable and have their best interests at heart. In my work, I've seen this dynamic play out time and again. One family I worked with had a teenager, Ava, who often pushed back against household rules. Her parents were torn between enforcing consequences and maintaining a positive relationship with her. By focusing on open communication and fair, consistent boundaries, they were able to discipline effectively without eroding Ava's trust. The emotional side of discipline. Discipline isn't just about rules and consequences, it's also about emotions. When a child misbehaves, there's often an underlying feeling driving their behavior. Maybe they're frustrated, tired, or testing limits as they figure out their independence. As parents, it's easy to get caught up in the behavior itself, especially if it's disruptive or disrespectful. But when we take a step back and look at what's fueling the behavior, we can approach discipline with more empathy. Imagine this. Your 6-year-old refuses to clean up their toys and yells, "You can't make me!" It's tempting to respond with anger or frustration, but what if instead you pause to consider why they're acting out? Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed by the task, or maybe they're seeking attention. When you address the emotion behind the behavior, you're not just correcting them, you're also showing them that you care about their feelings, which builds trust. Discipline is teaching, not punishment. Here's a mindset shift that can make a world of difference. Think of discipline as teaching, not punishing. When you approach discipline as an opportunity to teach your child important life skills, like problem solving, accountability, and emotional regulation, it becomes less about control and more about connection. This perspective helps your child see that you're on their side, even when you're setting limits. I remember working with a family whose son, Ben, frequently left his homework incomplete. Instead of punishing him by taking away privileges, his parents focused on helping him develop better time management skills. They sat down together to create a homework schedule and discussed the natural consequences of not completing assignments, like falling behind in class. This collaborative approach not only improved Ben's behavior, but also strengthened his trust in his parents. The role of communication in building trust. Communication is the bridge between discipline and trust. When your child understands the why behind your rules, they're more likely to respect them. This doesn't mean you have to justify every decision or let your child debate every consequence. But taking the time to explain your reasoning, especially for older kids, shows them that you respect their intelligence and value their input. For example, if you set a rule about limiting screen time, you might say, "I know you love playing video games, but I've noticed it's been hard for you to focus on your homework afterward. Let's find a balance that works for both of us." When you involve your child in the conversation, you're not just enforcing a rule, you're collaborating on a solution. Consistency. If there's one thing kids need when it comes to discipline, it's consistency. Inconsistent rules or consequences can leave children feeling confused or even resentful, which can erode trust over time. Imagine this. One day, your child gets a consequence for hitting their sibling, but the next day, the same behavior is ignored because you're too tired to address it. This inconsistency sends mixed messages and makes it harder for your child to understand what's expected of them. Consistency doesn't mean being rigid, it means setting clear expectations and following through in a predictable way. And when your child knows what to expect, they feel more secure in the boundaries you've set. When things don't go as planned. Let's be real, discipline isn't always smooth sailing. There will be times when your child pushes back, when you lose your temper, or when the consequence doesn't seem to have the desired effect. In those moments, it's important to remember that discipline is a learning process for both you and your child. If you make a mistake, own it. Apologize if necessary, and use it as an opportunity to model accountability. I've had parents tell me they worry that admitting a mistake will make them lose authority. But in reality, it does the opposite. When you say, "I overreacted earlier, and I'm sorry," you're showing your child that you're human too, and that trust goes both ways. The most effective discipline strikes a balance between firm boundaries and empathy. It's about holding your child accountable while also showing them that you're their biggest supporter. When your child knows that your rules come from a place of love and care, not control, they're more likely to respect those rules. And when they feel safe to express their emotions, even when they've made a mistake, they learn that trust isn't conditional on perfection. Discipline and trust aren't opposites, they're partners. By approaching discipline with empathy, consistency, and open communication, you can set boundaries that guide your child while strengthening the bond between you. Thank you for joining me today on the Parenting Compass. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this video with other parents who might find it helpful. Let's work together to create homes where discipline isn't about control, it's about connection and growth. I'll see you in the next video.